Hello, everyone. Sarah here with David's Refuge. I'm so excited to welcome you guys back to our virtual agency series, our monthly series where we talk to an amazing nonprofit or agency in our community. Today, I'm so excited to be chatting with Sarah and Collin of EPI, Empowering People's Independence. I was telling you guys earlier that I was diving into your website and just amazed about all of the important and amazing things that you guys are doing. So I cannot wait to dive into that. But first, I want to do a quick introduction to you guys. So Sarah, hello, welcome. Tell me all about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much, Sarah. We're really excited to be a part of this. My name is Sarah Korba, and I am the Associate Director of Epilepsy Services at EPI. I've been with EPI for about 18 years now, doing a variety of different roles, and it's been a really great agency to work for. And I'm really excited to tell you about some of the programs and services that we offer. And Collin is a newer team member, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, Collin.
Hi, I'm Collin Horak. I'm new, a little bit newer. I started just a couple months ago, and I'm the Education Intake Coordinator for Epilepsy Services for Empowering People's Independence, and here in the Syracuse office.
That's outstanding. Amazing. So first, I really just want to dive in. I know EPI has been around for a while. Tell me about how EPI came to be.
Sure. So let me start a little bit with our mission. You know, we are here to empower people with disabilities, with brain injuries, with epilepsy, neurological and chronic health conditions. And our goal is to help each individual that we support and serve, live the life of their choosing. And we do that through lots of different services and programs. We have a wide variety of OPWDD programs. We serve people with epilepsy with our epilepsy-specific programs, which we'll dive into a little bit later. We have a pretty large territory. We serve 22 counties in upstate New York. We have offices in Rochester, Syracuse, and Binghamton, and kind of serve all the surrounding counties of those offices. So 22 counties in upstate New York. Collin is based in our Syracuse office, and we offer self-direction and our epilepsy services in the Syracuse area.
Wow, that's incredible. So I know you said that you serve all of the Syracuse areas. Tell me about other regions that you guys serve.
Sure. So we have our main administrative office is in Rochester, and we have a lot of programs and services there. We have several day programs. We have IRAs, residential individual alternatives for people who are OPWDD eligible. We have a very large self-direction program that serves people throughout our territory, so across Rochester, Syracuse, and Binghamton. And down in Binghamton, we have additional IRAs. We have 2, and I think we're opening a 3rd in a little bit. And we have a day program down there as well. Wow. That's, serves very community focused, very getting people out in the community and doing activities that really fit their interests and needs.
Wow, that's incredible. What type of programs?
So our most of our programs are OPWDD programs. Mm-hmm. We do in our Rochester office have a small but TBI program where we have a structured day program, and we offer other TBI services. And I totally lost that train of thought.
No, I know. I'm bopping around the questions that I had originally asked.
I don't know what to do with that.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'd love to hear really about how EPI came to be. If you want to chat about that.
So we were founded, and we used to be 2 agencies. We were the Epilepsy Association of Greater Rochester, and then it was called the Epilepsy Association of Greater Rochester, but we did serve Syracuse and Binghamton, and then PRELID, which was People Rebuilding and Living in Dignity and Independence, and we both agencies were founded by families, one in the 1970s and one in the 1990s, who didn't have an agency that really met the needs of their child. The Epilepsy Association was founded by a family who had a child with epilepsy, and there was nothing to connect them to other families with epilepsy. There was no education services. And so they created this agency. And Prelude was created for a similar instance. It was a family, had a loved one who had sustained a TBI, and there was no services for them. So they founded these agencies, and we were very similar. We had lots of programs and services for people with disabilities and neurological conditions. And so it made sense. I think in 2011, we came together and formed EPI, and we were called, Epilepsy Prelude Inc. And it worked really well, and we had very complementary programs, and it kind of built a nice base in a very solid foundation for an agency to grow. And then, EPI, Epilepsy Prelude Inc., it didn't really mean anything. It didn't really speak to like our mission or what we do. And Prelude is, it was an acronym. So people are like, what is that? So we changed our name during COVID to Empowering People's Independence, because that is what we do. It doesn't matter if you come to us with disability or epilepsy or a chronic health condition. We have different programs and services that really help you and can be tailored to your needs and your goals and help you move forward on the path of your choosing. So empowering people's independence.
I love it. Yes, it's a beautiful name. It speaks directly to what you guys are doing. It was awesome. Very, very cool. I'd love to hear about what do you think makes your program so special?
Sure, yeah, Collin.
I can talk about that. So I feel that like the connections that we make with the people that we serve are what makes it so special. It all starts with like a listening ear and a big heart and a desire to help. And I think that's what I've seen from the people here at Empowering People's Independence in the time I've worked here. We put a strong emphasis on the needs of the people we support, and we put our people first, and we don't just stop reaching out to help even after we've met their needs. So like our self-direction program here is extremely customer service oriented. And we offer our expertise in epilepsy, being the only agency in our region that has our epilepsy expertise. And our epilepsy services department is growing a lot, especially here in Syracuse.
That's incredible. Well, it sounds like what you guys are doing is building a community, which is incredible and exactly what people need. They want to feel seen and heard, and also have other people that are going through a similar experience. So kudos to you guys. That's absolutely incredible. The work that you guys are doing is so needed. I absolutely love it. I know you guys wanted to also touch on some more of the epilepsy services. If you want to tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, I'll just talk about why our epilepsy services and programs are so important.
Yeah.
I feel that they're vital to the communities we serve because seizure first aid is just as important to know as choking first aid or recognizing a heart attack symptoms, because epilepsy is a hidden disability. Many people don't talk about it. It has a stigma around it, and it really isn't represented well in the media. And you never know who could have a seizure around you at any point. That's because 1 in 26 people actually have epilepsy in the United States, and 1 in 10 people could have a seizure at any point in their life. And what does this mean for Central New York, though? There's 180,000 people living with epilepsy in New York. And if you think about a classroom, there's 20 to 30 students. 1 student out of any classroom could have a seizure. You think about going into Walmart, there's about 400 people an hour that visit Walmart. And so 15 people out of those people could have a seizure or could have epilepsy, and 40 of those people could have a seizure. So, and many people don't know what epilepsy is. Well, epilepsy is a neurological disorder that causes unprovoked reoccurring seizures. And what's a seizure? Well, a seizure is a burst of electrical activity in the brain that causes a certain reaction, and that reaction is different based on what part of the brain is affected. It's sort of like an electricity storm in the brain that makes your body react in unexpected ways. But there are many types of seizures. Most people think of the tonic-clonic seizures, or grand mal as they used to be called, which are where someone would fall to the ground, tense their muscles, and shake, convulse. Well, what you need to remember when you see someone having one of those seizures, which are the most common, is trust. T is for turn the person on their side. R is for remove anything from their face or head that could harm them. U is to use something soft under their head. S, stay calm and stay with the person until they regain consciousness. And the final T is for timing the seizure, because how long it takes determines whether it's a medical emergency. And there are many different types of seizures, though, like absence, where you stare off for several seconds, or focal seizures, where just certain part of the brain is affected, and you may react in different ways, from walking around aimlessly to pulling at your clothes, just shaking a single part of your body. And there are even ones where you're aware of what's happening and you know what's going on around you, and you know you're actually having a seizure. And it's important to know that there are many different types. I could talk about the many different types for forever, but we're here to educate the public on it.
That's incredible. I when I was reading your website, I saw a big thing that you guys are very inspired by is advocacy. So that's amazing. I love this trust. From just my personal experience, my grandfather used to have seizures, and as a kid, we would be sitting at a dining room table, and I was completely unaware of what was happening. My mom, a nurse, would see that when my grandpa was having a very still, staring off seizure, not shaking, because in my mind it was, somebody as a kid, of course, having a seizure is shaking or falling, and so that was very eye-opening to me. But I really love what you said about trust and not panicking, and being able to realize what's happening in the situation. And if more people were able to, be calm and not panic and walk through the situation, that would be just such a blessing, not, to the public as well as the person that was experiencing the seizure. So thank you for sharing that. And I hope that you guys can really get that word out to the masses, because it's so important. It can really help save lives. So
yeah,
awesome.
That trust is just like an abridged version of the first aid training that we do in with our education.
That's incredible. That's very cool. Very, very interesting. I know a lot of the families that we serve at David's Refuge have kiddos that do have seizures as well. So in the future, I don't know if you guys have anything that parents can have or can, have on hand that they can pass out, if in case of emergency, or a hand to people that they're with common all the time, and so they know how to deal if the kids have seizures and how to react. I'm sure you guys have a whole big beautiful plan.
On our website, we have in the epilepsy section, there's a resource section, and on there's downloadables for education for seizure first aid. There's also something called the seizure action plan, which we encourage everyone to have, not just kiddos, but it's really helpful for kiddos. Schools have seizure action plans, making sure those are updated and accurate, because seizures can change, especially as kids grow and develop and change. The body changes and seizures can change. But those are really helpful tools that help keep people with epilepsy safe in a variety of situations, at school, at summer camp, at work, for adults. So so epilepsy section of our website has a lot of downloadable resources.
Awesome. I'm so excited to share that with everyone. So with everything that you guys have going on, I'm sure you have some amazing stories to tell me. I'd love to hear any success stories, something that really stands out to you with your families.
Yeah, so we're going to share two stories with you. I'm going to start, and our first story is a young woman who was diagnosed. Her name is Lydia, and she was diagnosed with epilepsy in middle school, which is a really hard. Middle school's hard, right? It's hard for all kiddos, and then you get diagnosed with epilepsy, and it adds a whole nother layer. And so when she was diagnosed, she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want anybody to know. Right? Like you don't want to be different, especially when you're, 14, 15. It was really hard for her. And she also really struggled with her epilepsy, her reoccurring seizures. She had a great support system with her family, and she was connected with, she got connected up with us and our educator here in the Rochester area, and met other families, and really, learned that she wasn't alone. And, as she progressed and when she got to high school, she was like, you know what? I'm ready to talk about this and like to share my story with other people. And she, we're so proud of her. She had, in her school, they have a senior project, and she's like, I'm going to take on advocating for epilepsy education in schools, because in New York State, there is no requirement that it is included in either health curriculum for students or for teachers to be trained. And she was like, I think that people need to know about seizure first aid, and they need to know what to do. So she put together a presentation and presented about why she thought that her school should include seizure first aid in their curriculum. And she presented it to two of the school board members, the superintendent and the principal. So she went from not talking about it at all to doing a formal presentation in front of like all of the leadership of her school district. And they were like, yes, you're right. This is an important topic.
Yes.
And they said, but we can't make this decision. Can you present to our curriculum committee? And she was like, okay. So she did a second presentation, and they said yes. So she successfully advocated for the inclusion of seizure first aid training in her high school health school curriculum. So she's been awarded we give a scholarship for kids with epilepsy. And she was, an easy winner. We were like, oh my God, we've done so much amazing advocacy work. Absolutely. And I also just want to briefly mention, she's going to be sharing her story on a webinar August 16th, which the details of which can be found on our website. But I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's and one of her really big points, and one of the things she's going to talk about is, that journey from not wanting to talk about epilepsy at all, which that's, when lots of people get diagnosed, that's the first reaction. Like, it's private. I don't want anybody to know. Mm-hmm. Seizures can be embarrassing, right? Nobody wants them to happen in public. But not talking about it, just adds to stigma. And it also, it's hard to be safe if nobody knows what your seizures look like and how to respond to them. Yeah. So it's hard, but it's important. So she's sharing her personal story. So I just wanted to mention that because we're just so proud of her. And then another story actually that we want to tell is Collin's. So I'm going to turn it over to Collin and let him talk about his story.
Yeah, it does feel weird to say I'm a success story, right? Because is that a humble brag?
Well,
anyway, I was one of the people that our agency served, and now have come full circle in my career. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 9 years old, after having several seizures when I was in the fourth grade, and it was a pretty rough time when I was first diagnosed. As similar situation with Lydia, but I was on many different medications, and at one point I was on up to 11 medications, and a lot of times they made things worse. I was like walking into walls at one point, and I couldn't really finish a sentence without struggling through it. And my peers didn't really understand what was going on or what I was going through, and I'm sure some were frightened by the idea of a seizure. But one day, a community educator from this office that I work in now actually came to my school and did a talk about epilepsy with the students, and it really made a difference. I felt that my peers had an understanding of the disorder after that, and I was more comfortable in my surroundings. And another thing that made me more confident at the time was I attended Camp Eager, which is the camp that we put on. And it helped me gain confidence and a better understanding of the disorder of epilepsy in others. And it really, I went there when I was 11 years old, and it really was a life-changing experience. I can't say enough about it, but I was a camper then, and then I became a counselor when I grew up. And now I work for the agency that puts on the camp. And I also do the epilepsy education and seizure recognition and first aid training that was done at my school and had a big impact on how I was treated in my youth. So it has a very personal meaning to me, what I do now.
I know you just mentioned camp. I'd love to hear more about all the amazing things you guys are doing at your camp.
Sure. So our Camp Eager program is really one of the highlights of our epilepsy services program. It started in 1992, and it was started because kids with epilepsy weren't able to attend a summer camp experience, let alone an overnight summer camp experience. So we started Camp Eager to provide a week of a traditional overnight sleepaway summer camp. You do all of the summer camp things. You get to go swimming with extra supports. You get to do summer camp activities. We have campfires. We have nature walks. We do rock wall climbing and zip lining and field games and just hanging out with friends who get it, who also have seizures and epilepsy, or are a sibling who, because epilepsy, it affects the whole family. And so, kids with epilepsy connect with other kids, siblings connect with other siblings, and parents get a week of respite. And that's not a small thing, as you know, at David's Refuge. So the thing that's really special about Camp Eager, and why we were able to have 60 kids and their siblings with epilepsy come, is we have trained staff that run the program. We have an amazing component of volunteer counselors. Collin was a volunteer counselor for many years. We have volunteer counselors been with us for a very long time. They were campers, some with epilepsy, some with siblings, but they all get it. They all understand what it's like to have epilepsy or have it in the family. And we have neurologists that come and provide medical care for the week. So it is, you can send your kid and seizures happen. We have a neurologist that comes, checks them out. And, when you have epilepsy, not every seizure is medical emergency. If it's a regular seizure, then you just kind of go on, maybe you need a little time to recover, but you go on with your day and you can get right back into camp activities when you're feeling better. And we have neurologists there to make sure that all of our kids stay safe. And they get all of their epilepsy is often controlled by medication. And so we have that all, well in control, and it really provides peace of mind to the parents. But I cannot say enough about how amazing camp is. This summer, it's actually next week. So it's a little late to sign up, but we run it every year. All the details are on our website. We have a video, if parents are curious, and I encourage them always to reach out. Collin, myself, or our camp director, Mike Riddell, are always available to talk to parents and answer any questions they may have.
That's incredible. And what's the age range for campers?
Sure. So we take campers from age 8 all the way up to 17. For ages 16 and 17, we run a CIT, a counselor in training program. And this year, we're really excited. We're really sort of enhancing that and providing them with sort of special training and opportunities for leadership and growth to really sort of develop into that counselor when they turn 18.
Yeah, that's incredible. Awesome. Oh man, I love it. I think that is so special. Like you said, the peace of mind for, the kids to be there, to have this amazing experience, typical experience. Like, that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
We want just everyone
Yep.
to
It
feel
is
included.
summer camp. Yep.
Yes, summer camp. Yes, I love it. And then for the parents, just to say, you know what, I feel completely confident. They're there. They're having a great time. There's the people. They're necessary if something happens, and I feel confident. That's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. I absolutely love it.
Our camp, well, I just want to mention, our camp is located at Rochester Rotary Sunshine Campus. So it's a really nice facility. It's really well kept up. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful camp. So we're really excited.
That's amazing. I absolutely love it. Very, very cool. So before we finish up, I just want to hear a couple steps on people getting involved. What's some first steps families can take to learn more about you, to get involved in EPI?
Yeah, I can talk about that. Our support groups are a big part of the services we offer. We have our August 3rd picnic at Ryder Park in Syracuse coming up from 5 to 7 p.m. where I'll be grilling up burgers and dogs for whoever wants to come by and show their support for people with epilepsy. And then we have our support groups. They are every first Thursday of the month at the Salt City Market. And then after that, we have the Thursday after that is our virtual support group. And our education, we have education programs such as our seizure recognition and first aid trainings, which are available to schools, businesses, community organizations, families, really anybody, any group that would benefit. And we also offer epilepsy education webinars. They are on the third Wednesday of the month. So there's actually one tonight about driving with epilepsy, driving and epilepsy. So there's a presentation and there's a short Q&A session afterward. And then the video will be posted on our YouTube channel after that. And then in November, we have our dinner with the doctor where we get together with a doctor. We'll have an event in Syracuse, Rochester, and in Binghamton, and in different weeks throughout November, and where you can get together with the doctor and ask some questions in an informal setting.
Awesome. I love that. Very cool. And I will link your website to this video for everyone so they can click and visit your website. But my last question, everyone loves a volunteer. Tell me how people can get involved volunteer-wise or more advocacy-wise. Go to your website. Any opportunities there?
Yeah, so definitely our website has all the information and programs that Collin just mentioned, as well as easy ways to contact staff. And we encourage, if there's anything that you're interested in, but you have questions, just reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions. But volunteering, we always need camp volunteers. It's a big commitment. So, it's, it has to work for the volunteer, but we always are looking for camp counselors. It is some of the most rewarding volunteer work you will ever do. And then we also are running a walk in the fall, and we can use volunteers for that. And then we just ask, to help be a community champion. Like we mentioned earlier, people don't often talk about having epilepsy or seizures, but pretty much everyone knows someone. They just may not know that they know someone that has epilepsy or seizures. So talking about the importance of seizure first aid, advocating for it in your own school or your own workplace or your own business. We are available. We have funding that covers no-cost presentations. We'd love to get out there more and really talk about the importance of seizure first aid and how to respond when people have a seizure or have epilepsy. So, lots of ways to get involved, all on our website, and feel free to reach out to either myself or Collin.
Awesome. Sarah, Collin, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys. Thank you for all the incredible work that you guys are doing at EPI and for this amazing community. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you, learning more about you guys, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. We feel the same way about you guys at David Refuge. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.